got some breaking news that if this doesn't make you smile, then go back to bed. The Las Vegas Raiders have just fired offensive coordinator Chip Kelly. And the reason why I tell people all the time to hit that subscribe button, we talked about this 2 weeks ago on this show that I had a source reach out to me and tell me that, hey, Chip Kelly could be fired if the Raiders lose to the Browns game. And if you didn't know that, it's because you're not subscribed. I am not an insider. I'm not a beat reporter. I'm a Raider fan that has done this show more than anybody, has covered this team more than anybody over the last 8 years. Over 5,000 videos on this channel. We have connections. We have sources. We also have commitment to excellence and work ethic. And coming up on this program, I'm going to give you the breaking news. We're going to give you the rundown of why Chip Kelly was let go, what Pete Carroll had to say about it. I'll tell you also why my sources were kind of linking me to why Chip Kelly could potentially be on the way out. And then at the very, very end of the show, we'll talk about some potential interns that could step in for Chip. I will say this. I think that I already know who it's going to be. I literally ran back here to the studio. I tried to sit down and eat a little bit of dinner with my wife and Chuck and Chuck's grandma. Shout out to Sandra. But, when news happens, we're going to talk about it. That's why we do it. Seriously, though, y'all, if you want it, hit that subscribe button. You want to change, we got change, and to me, this is another domino in the right direction. Tom McMahon, first domino. Chip Kelly, second domino. And the more and more dominoes that are going to fall are more and more ways of how we can say goodbye, Pete Carroll, goodbye, Geno Smith. But the fact that the Raiders fired Chip Kelly, he was not well liked in that locker room. So when you combine the fact that he doesn't have a lot of respect from players in that locker room, wasn't well liked by the front office, wasn't well liked by other coaches, and again, Chip Kelly just rubbed people the wrong way in so many different ways. I know there's definitely a giggity in there, but it's just the God-honest truth. And the fact that they decided to move on, I mean, this is an offense that has absolutely positively no identity, and an offensive coordinator that was making, the most money at the offensive coordinator position. But I saw a stat, and I wanted to be able to read this stat because this, again, proves how bad this is. In 14 seasons as the Seahawks head coach, Pete Carroll never fired a coordinator during the season. The Raiders have now fired 2 coordinators in a 17-day span. Pete Carroll's going to look to save face because he's too afraid to put his baby back bitch Geno Smith on the bench, and he's too afraid to fire his Nepo son, Brennan Carroll. So what's the domino that needs to fall? Here you go. That's the domino that needs to fall. And you know it. I know it. Everybody here knows it. That's what happened. And, before week 12 ended up going down, what's crazy is the numbers that you're about to see on screen are going to be worse. They're about to be worse. We were 31st in the NFL in points per game. Put up only 10 points tonight. We're going to be, I believe, after the Titans where they scored 24, we put up 10. I believe we're going to be the worst offense points per game in the NFL. Total yards per game, passing yards per game, rushing yards per game. I mean, there's nothing good about what the Raiders' offense is. And I'll actually say this again. Chip Kelly was not the biggest problem against the Cleveland Browns. I actually think that Geno Smith was a bigger problem, and obviously the offensive line was an even bigger, and I mean an even bigger problem. But you know what? Let's talk about the quarterback because that's where eyes are going to go. Now it's no longer Chip Kelly. And there's a part of me that goes, the Raiders as an organization should start Geno Smith for the simple fact of that's the guy they paid, and now they have a new offensive coordinator. But I want to know who should start from all of y'all. Do you want the Raiders to start Geno Smith, week 13 against the Chargers? Do you want the Raiders to roll with Kenny Pickett? Do you want the Raiders to roll with Aiden O'Connell? If anybody wants to put Cam Miller, you could put Cam Miller. He's just not even in the running of this discussion. So I just wanted to put 3 people up here that actually had a chance to start. My answer is going to be coming up here after this YouTube ad break. The reason why I'm going to sit up here and say it's time to start Aiden O'Connell, it's because I actually think it's the only way that Pete Carroll is going to save his job. I mean it, and I mean it. I'm done with Geno Smith. The fact that he said blame it on me, spit in our face last week. The fact that he just continuously will not take ownership, and he takes ownership, but it's in like the such like sarcastic way where it's so aggravating and ignorant to do it. But then also for Geno Smith to flip off Raiders fans and to call Raiders fans, he literally called a Raiders fan today, he said, fuck you, bitch, to a fan of this team. That is literal conduct detrimental to the team. I hope they suspend him. I would love for him to cut him. And the sooner you move on from that clown, the happier I'm going to be. But in all honesty, I want to see Aiden O'Connell out there because in a 2-9 season where there is nothing really to really root for and hope for, I want to be able to root for a quarterback that I think deserves to be the Raiders quarterback. Geno Smith doesn't deserve to wear a Raiders jersey. And I don't want Geno Smith to wear a Raiders jersey. Though, this move, I think, just proves that Pete Carroll's going to trot on out his little baby back bitch, Geno Smith. So, again, this news came in from multiple outlets out there, and I apologize. My voice is slowly starting to disintegrate. Adam Schefter, Chip Kelly, out as the Raiders offensive coordinator. Albert Breer, Vegas lured Chip Kelly from Ohio State with a deal at $6 million. And I know there's a lot of fans, they keep going, Mitch, we got to tank. We got to go out and get that quarterback. One, you're not going to have to tank. This team with Pete Carroll is so bad that they're not going to win another game for the rest of the season. They are the worst team in the National Football League. I don't think it's close right now. The other thing, though, is I want players to want to come play for us. I want good coaches. And the problem is the Raiders had to go out. They tried to get a big whale in Chip Kelly. And whale, oh whale, didn't work out. Here's the message that Pete Carroll put out on social media. The Raiders ended up tweeting it. I spoke with Chip Kelly earlier this evening and informed him of his release as offensive coordinator of the Raiders. I would like to thank Chip for his service and wish him all the best in the future. That is your message from head coach Pete Carroll. And again, man, I am happy that the Raiders have made some decisions. I am happy that the Raiders are moving on. And I think we're just one step closer to getting out of this bad dream. And I don't know why we are in this situation that we are in, but man, oh man, the Pete Carroll Raiders are the worst Raiders team. The Raiders team that played the Cleveland Browns, Week 12 of the 2025 season, put it in your books. The Raiders have been around since 1960. It's the worst Raiders team to ever step foot on a field. And I don't think you can tell me otherwise. Give up 10 sacks to have a quarterback just pouting like a little baby every time for your offensive coordinator, Brendan Carroll. It's just there's so much, and I mean so much shit. Coming up next here on the show, we're going to get into some Pete Carroll replacements, but if you don't know where to find me, you guys can obviously find me here on YouTube. I put out videos every single day. We have put out a video every single day on this channel, I think all the way since back 2018. I can't even remember the last time. Grudem still might have been coaching the last time that we didn't put a video out on this channel. If you don't believe me, go part about YouTube. It's up there. If you don't believe me when I say that, hey, I think the Raiders would be a much better football team, that's going to change. So that's going to go to 12 p.m. Eastern time. So I will be live 12 p.m. Eastern time, just so y'all know tomorrow. I plan on going live a little bit later, but after tonight's game and then after the firing of Chip Kelly, I'll be live earlier tomorrow. You guys also get a video. I already made it. I'm going to have to redo it. I'm not going to lie to y'all. But that video is going to go out at 8 a.m. tomorrow. And, yep, that talked about Chip Kelly firing in it. Unless you guys don't give a shit if I just keep it in there and you just hear what I had to say about Chip Kelly and how he's probably going to get fired. You know what, F it, I might just keep it in there. But because it's Thanksgiving, I got some family, I got some friends coming into town. So this is going to be my live schedule for the entire week. Again, you're going to get videos every single day. But hit me up on Instagram. Hit me up on Twitter. I'm going to be at Mitchell Renz 365. I'm going to put out content. It's what I do. I would love to be able to be a happier Raiders fan, and I would love to not be such a negative Nancy all the flipping time, but that's just the way that it goes sometimes with this organization. It's a really, really, really tough pill to swallow. So next thing I want to get into here is what my source told me earlier in the week. And again, it's probably, I did the video, what's today? November 23rd. So I believe the video that I did on when the Raiders could fire Chip Kelly was, I think it was actually like 10 days ago. And again, we put out a lot of different stuff. So what you're going to see is me run through all the reasons of why I was told that the Raiders could potentially move on from Chip Kelly. There are player cards for this. I don't know if it's going to be too late for you to try to bring them over. But if you can, that would be dope. There's also player cards down there for Chip Kelly replacements as well. I don't know if you see any of those, but we can get to those. So we'll wait on the Chip Kelly stuff. But the first thing was, my source told me this. It is a Chip Kelly problem. And I know the fact that when I get people to reach out to me, again, like I've done this show for so long, agents want me to talk popular about their players. So a lot of my sources are from players, agents, and it's that whole regard. Yes, I know other people inside that organization. Obviously, I do. If you don't think that I do, then, again, man, haters are going to hate, and I totally, totally get that it's going to happen. But, I had a source reach out to me last week, and they said that, hey, or 2 weeks ago, after the Broncos game, Thursday Night Football, it's all blending together, that keep an eye out that Chip Kelly could get moved on from. And then, you see guys like Fowler, Breer, Schefter, Rappaport, all these guys putting out, hey, we're hearing a lot of disconnects inside that Raiders locker room. A lot of disconnect in the Raiders locker room, but then also a lot of disconnect between the front office. The reason why you subscribe to the Raiders Report, I don't put out fake stuff, but I tell you when I'm told stuff, and I hope that you guys believe me. Next thing of why I said Chip Kelly could be fired. Tom McMahon fell. 17 days ago, the Raiders fired their special teams coach, Tom McMahon. Why? They needed to look for a scapegoat, and they needed to try to find that scapegoat. The scapegoat was Tom McMahon. And now, after a game like that against Cleveland, when I said it, and I meant it when I said it, I knew what could potentially happen. And the fact that McMahon is gone, the Raiders weren't going to move on from Geno. They weren't going to move on from Brennan. So that means somebody else needed to go. And that person that needed to go was Chip Kelly. Let's go to the next reason here why Chip Kelly, I thought, could have been fired. Look at this. Again, everything that you're seeing here is what I talked about a few weeks ago of why Chip could be fired. Pete's loyalty to Geno. Pete's loyalty to Geno runs deep. And, it proved it yet again at halftime of the show, halftime of the game against Cleveland, when Pete's like, well, we got to be able to block better for him. And he's right. You got to be able to block better for him. But how do you as a head coach only point the finger at that, but yet you don't look at the fact that frickin' your quarterback on the very first play of the game misses Trey Tucker wide open, would have been an 86-yard touchdown. It's just over and over and over again. And here's the thing, man. I get how difficult playing behind that offensive line is. It's the worst offensive line in the NFL. But Pete's blind loyalty to Geno is a problem. And Pete's blind loyalty is going to be the reason why more coaches, unfortunately, lose their jobs. Let's go to the next reason here of why Chip could be fired and why Chip was fired. The offensive struggles. The Raiders' offense, now again, this is before Week 12, so I do want to be very clear on that. And because, you're looking at a lot of the graphics that we did earlier in the week, so that's kind of why I'm putting this out there. But I just wanted to be able to show y'all. We talk about this stuff, and that's why I want people to watch this show, because we talk about it, right? So the offense before Week 12, they're about to be the worst offense in the NFL. And quite frankly, not that I don't give a shit about any of these numbers. I obviously do. But you can't be the highest paid offensive coordinator in the NFL, and they're about to be last in points per game because the Tennessee Titans scored 24, we scored 10. If I had to guess, we're going to be last in points per game. And then, why Chip could be fired. So this last note here, Monday Night Football versus the Cowboys. Again, in the video that I did after Monday night, I said, if the Monday Night Football game is really, really bad, there's going to be an even larger chance that Chips goes. And then we talked about all week, Monday night was a failure. Tuesday or Thursday night was a failure. And now after another failure of a performance in front of a lot of people, because a lot of people were watching Shador, then you got to see of what ended up happening. So Mark Davis listens to the outside world. I know that people might not believe me when I say it, but Mark watches this show. I know Mark watches this show. I've been told Mark watches this show. And I know that I'm a loud individual, but I know that we can be really, really loud together. And I think, yet again, it just showed you that we can be very loud together when change is needed. And I know I wasn't the only one screaming from the rooftops that change is going to be needed. So coming up next year, I just want to do a quick little rundown of some potential offensive coordinators that could take over for Chip Kelly. because, again, we're probably going to go the interim route. And because we're going to go that interim route, it's going to be somebody that is already on this staff. And I have highlight the player cards if you want to go to those. We can talk about them. Also, again, shout out to my guy Gage. It's late here at the Chat Sports Studios. It says 11 o'clock at night. Dude literally ran back into work here to be able to get you guys some extra videos. We don't keep any of the Super Chats. We don't keep any of the Venmos. We always invest it back into the company. It's why we get people here to always pull up to the Raiders Report when breaking news happens. Unfortunately, the Raiders fire a lot of coaches. What do you say? No, this is also going to be in the cut. Yeah, I've already made a Chip Kelly replacements video, so I don't technically need to make another. So I'm just going to put this stuff. Oh, I got you. So here's real quick, going to be a rundown of some people that the Raiders could potentially decide to make their interim offensive coordinator. And if it's already happened, I've been looking for the news. Again, I sat down to eat dinner, took Chuck on a little walk to take him outside, and bang, the news happened. Alex drove me right back to work, and we've been rocking and rolling. So to me, I originally said that there could be 5 replacements for Chip Kelly if he was going to be potentially fired. The first guy that I brought up, and I don't think that this is going to be the person who it is, but I've put out this person's name multiple times. To me, there's only 3 coaches that I want the Raiders to keep next year. Rob Leonard, Luke Steckel, and McCollum, the running backs coach who was previously at Notre Dame. But Luke Steckel is a very well-liked and very well-respected guy. Again, I'm just going to throw his name in the mix because I think that he deserves more recognition for the work that he does. And the way that people talk about Rob Leonard is the way that people should talk about Luke Steckel, tight ends coach. Next name, this one's going to make you throw up, but I don't know. I could see Pete Carroll doing it. His son, Nate Carroll, who's got 0 offensive coordinator experience. Again, I mean, another Nepo promotion. He was fired after 1 year in Carolina after 2024, but we know Pete Carroll, how he likes his kids. Let's go to Brennan Carroll. Could the Raiders decide to go this route? I sure hope not. Because I know Brennan Carroll's been terrible, but he was the Arizona OC and offensive line coach. If we're talking about past guys that could get the job, he was the Washington OC and offensive line coach. I mean, the number one way that Pete Carroll could get fired is by going with this route, but I don't think those 3 guys are going to be who ends up getting it. I think that it's between 2 candidates, but I really think it's between 1. Next guy coming up here is going to be Joe Philbin. Raiders, this organization loves guys who are old. And Philbin, I don't mean that as a backhand, but it kind of came out that way, and I apologize for that because I got a lot of respect for Joe Philbin as a coach, and he's very well liked and very well respected in that room. But he has head coaching experience. He was the Packers OC for multiple seasons in there, and because he's been with the Raiders and is well respected, that could be who they decide to go with. But the person that's going to take over, and I would be shocked if this is not the person that they go with, it's going to be Greg Olsen. And 15 years of offensive coordinator experience, was with Detroit, St. Louis Rams, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Oakland Raiders once, Jacksonville, and looks like he was also with the Oakland Raiders again. I know it says LV, but technically it's LV now. Worked with Pete and Geno in 2023. So because there's that connection, there's a little bit of an easier maybe bridge to get there. And I do believe that the easiest thing that the Raiders could do for Pete Carroll is this move. And again, it's what I talked about a few weeks ago because it's this move right here. If Greg Olsen becomes the offensive coordinator, well then Nate Carroll, Pete's son, can become the quarterback coach. That's going to be the other reason why Greg Olsen is going to be the interim offensive coordinator for the Las Vegas Raiders. So again, y'all, when breaking news happens, I don't give a shit what time of the night it is. I'm up here to always keep you guys informed. We have an expression here at Chat Sports. It's inform and entertain. I don't know if the Raiders are going to entertain y'all that much, but I hope that I can at least entertain you, put some smiles on some faces from time to time. Appreciate each and every one of y'all tuning in. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure those notifications are turned on. And if you're not watching the Raiders Report, the Raiders fired Chip Kelly. And I got to eat the world's spiciest chip. And that shit's going to hurt, man. That shit's going to hurt. Also, fuck Geno.